them lum green.
I don't believe I did.
Well, Columbus green, and my grandmother was a Woods.
Now, you said something a minute ago about going to church. Where did you go?
Pleasant Grove, United Methodist Church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Aaron went to church. And I guess he always saw me. I guess he saw me kind of grow up, don't you guess?
Why, he must have. And he liked what he saw.
I know he must have. He's about the only boy I ever went with.
Well, that's,
Yes,
that's great.
So I guess I knew him all.
Do you remember any of the preachers back then?
Oh, yes. We had lots of preachers. We had Brother Mike and Brother... Oh, we've had Brother Mike, and we had Brother Maroney, Brother Kesterson, Brother... Oh, we had Brother Smithmeyer, Brother Smithmeyer.
I bought Kesterson's car one
Is that
time.
right? Is that right?
And kept it for years. I really liked it. It was a Mercury, 71 Mercury.
Yeah. And we had Brother Dye, that was our Calist preacher, and we had, oh, let's see, we just had so many preachers. And Brother, let's see.
You know, one time there was a fellow at Hardin by the name of W.T.M. Jones, and his son Marvin's around here as a Methodist preacher somewhere now. You may have met him.
Yeah, I have.
And we would go a lot of places to speak together. The opening of school, they'd ask him to do a little religious program. They asked me to make some kind of a talk. So we were riding out one day to open school at Joppa. Now that was east of Hardin, about 4 miles. And he told me a story, and I just wonder if you ever heard anything like it. He said that Methodist preachers were noted for liking chicken.
Yeah, that's what they always say, yeah.
And
they've always say that now.
He said one time there was a fellow went home with the family for dinner and dropped his teeth in the cistern. And they couldn't imagine how in the world they'd ever get them out. And somebody tied a chicken leg around the well rope, let it down, and said those teeth just grabbed it, and they brought them right out. Did you ever hear anything like that?
I never heard that one. That's a pretty good one, isn't it? Oh, for Pete's sake, Lord.
Well, I've never forgotten that, of course.
And Brother Edgar Sires, he was a good preacher. Yeah. He was a wonderful preacher.
Well, was there always some kind of a store right up here about Harvey? Since you've been living out here?
No, that hasn't been built.
Now let's see. John Ed Barnes has it now, does he?
Yeah.
Barnes' store.
Yeah. Well, Lake Smith built that store there.
Mm-hmm.
When the first store was there, and he sold it out then. Then the Palmers bought it. Gerald Lice Palmer bought that and kept there a while. And I believe then that John Ed bought that from him. I believe he did, because it hadn't always been there. It's been there some time.
Well, tell us a little bit about, I see you were working out in the yard when I came up, and did you do a lot of berry picking and canning and things like that as a young woman?
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still do a lot of that. After William Ivey down here, William Stone, Bears, you know him.
Uh-huh.
Well, he tore the stable down, and so I have me a garden down there in the hall and the 2 stalls, and I have all the food I need to can: beans, corn, sweet potatoes, and mashed potatoes for them few rows. Mm-hmm. I do that. Me and the grubbing hoe does that.
Well, grubbing hoe is pretty hard work.
Well, yeah, but it does the work.
It does,
yeah.
That's true.
L.A. has gone coming up and disking up the hall for me. That hall's a little harder than those stalls. They're just loose as a bed of ashes, and that's why I can do it. Otherwise, I couldn't. But I can, and I do all that, and I freeze mostly everything except green beans. I do can those.
Now, in an earlier generation, you probably had to can them in ball-perfect mason jars or something.
Great, yes. We had to boil all of them.
You remember those zinc lids?
Yes, had to screw them on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they were.
They had a rubber ring that.
Yep. You had to have a lot of grip in your hands to get them dudes on there, and then you would turn them upside down and see if it was going to be okay.
Uh-huh.
You always turn them up. Oh, yeah, we canned everything then because you didn't have the way to freeze. Well, my mother would she'd go to town. She sold butter. And she'd go to town and carry butter. She was engaged, you know. It was always engaged. And she'd go every Wednesday and every Saturday, and she'd always bring a chunk of ice home. Of course, you know, that's the way we had to have ice. We'd always make a freezer cream. And we'd have then ice water. We didn't know what it was to have tea or anything like that then. We didn't know what it was.
No, I'd never drunk any tea, and I guess I was about 16 years old, and so at church one day there was a family invited me home for dinner with them, and they were wealthier than we were. It was Lonnie Hargis's family, and I was sort of as we used to say, struck on the daughter, Mary Edna.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they had a kerosene refrigerator.
Well, I never heard one of those.
Yeah, they made a kerosene. The same company that made gas refrigerators, Servell, was in Evansville, Indiana. Made a coal oil refrigerator.
Well, I know
they made millions of them for years, and they still make some now to export to places in Africa and so on where they don't have electric power. So anyway, they served iced tea for dinner, and I had never before drunk
Well,
iced
did you drink
tea.
it?
I did. Yeah, I drank it. You know, I'd drink anything.
Well, I said that when we'd go to Aunt Lily Stark's, you see, my father had, you Aunt Lily Stark's, not Leona Stark's.
I remember them.
Well,
yeah.
Now that was my dad's sister, and my mother had a sister then, Ada Lance, lived there, and so we would, my sister and me would go up there and stay a week at a time, visit. Well, that's just like now if you go to, people going to Florida and take a vacation, we just thought we was in heaven.
Yeah.
And so my Aunt Lily Stark, she made tea. Well, we would try to drink it. And she said, now, children, I want you to drink a glass of tea now. And she'd make tea, and Uncle Leon's come home for lunch. And, well, we'd kick one another under the table. We'd nearly get tickled. We couldn't drink it. Now we just thought, well...
It wasn't good tea.
It wasn't good. And I thought, and she said, now, it is good for you. She says, you must drink a glass of tea. Well, we couldn't. I didn't learn to drink tea till after I married. I just could not stand it. And I remember going to Bessie Roberts one time. Of course, we've been... You know Bessie, of course.
Oh, yes.
Well, we've been chums ever since before I married, and still are good ones. We're together about 1 or 2 nights out of every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so she learned me to drink tea. She filled it about half full of lemon, and I got to drinking tea. Well, now I won't even drink with lemon in it, but I thought, well, that is pretty good.
So we half lemonade.
I guess it was half lemonade. I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, well, I didn't really like the tea, but I went ahead and drank it.
Yeah, well, I just declared it was, well, of course, we wasn't that, I don't guess we weren't that old. We were just about, I guess, 8 or 10 or something. Mm-hmm. And we just thought that's the awfulest thing in the world, her wanting us to drink that tea. And we tried to drink it and put a lot of sugar in it, but it wasn't too good to us.
You know, I still don't care very much about it.
I love iced tea and hot tea, too. I and me both loved iced tea and hot tea. Mm-hmm. Because either one never drank coffee, and I guess we learned to drink tea.
Can you tell us anything you remember about Benton back in your early days? You say you went to old big singing or something.
Oh, great day. We first started out when I was little. My sister and me, my mother would sit up till nearly all night and make us clothes and go, and we'd take a basket of dinner and surrey. We had a surrey, and we'd go in the surrey, you know, out there to big sinking day. Spread our dinner up there in the courthouse yard. Yeah. And then I grew on up, yep. Big singing day. Just, that was the main day of the...
Did you get a new dress maybe for that?
Yeah. We always had a new dress. Ruffles and lace, little bows all over them dresses.
Oh, you
I
were
can remember
beautiful.
Them. Yeah, my mother thought we were.
Yeah.
She dressed us alike. Well, there's just 19 months difference in our age.
Uh-huh.
And she dressed us alike, and she'd
A
always...
lot of people probably thought you were twins.
Yeah, and they'd say, "Oh, look, them cute little twins." And we decided one day, now, Mother, we're not twins, and I believe you better not call us twins, dress us twins. Let's just have it. And says, "Well, okay." And she'd make hers pink and mine blue. Well, I didn't like that, because I wanted the pink and I didn't get the pink and red. She'd always get... Well, says, "She's dark complected." Says, "You need the blues." So when I got where I did, I had pinks and reds myself. I didn't have just all blue, so I don't hardly ever wear blue now.
Well, blue's my favorite color.
Well, we'd get in that surrey, and the way we'd go, my mother'd get in there, and then she'd go to Hardin with us. Of course, there's three of us, one of us smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a wonderful life.
Well,
I had a wonderful mother.
You went to Hardin sometime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we went up there.
Well, what was, did Hardin have stores then?
Yeah. There's, what was that name of that store? We always went over there.
Well, now, when I was a boy, there were two big ones. There was Davenport Brothers.
Yeah.
Next to the railroad station.
Yeah.
And on what we then called Main Street, and they now call Central Avenue, was Ted Pace.
Ted Pace, that's right. I remember him. Yeah, I remember that very well.
Big glass in the front, and the metal frame around the glass.
And my Uncle Leonis, he run the post office there a while.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah.
He one time printed a newspaper there.
Yeah.
Marshall County, well, they called it the Hardin Star
right.
for a while, and then the Marshall County Star.
Oh, yes, in Benton, when we first started, when I can first remember, just coming on up, I used to go there during my school days. Well, I had to run one year. I was chosen from our school, and I'll never forget that, down Main Street, and it's dirt.
Huh.
It wasn't even gravel, it's dirt. You'd start up there at the corner there, as you turn Mayfield, that corner, and you'd come on down to the next corner. And we had to run through there. Boy, I tell you what, we did some running. I won that race, too. I forgot how many schools was into that. I can't remember how many schools.
I didn't know you were a track star.
I was.
Let me ask you if you, did you ever, to protect your flowers, grow mole beans?
Well, I haven't up here, but I used to down to when we lived out in Grandma Lance's, but we never have. We never have
I
grown
wonder
down
if
here.
they really worked.
Well, I just wondered if they did. We had some down there, but really I just didn't know whether they did or whether they didn't. Now,
Did
you
you do
asked me,
much quilting?
No, I wasn't no quilter. I crocheted. I've crocheted ever since I was a girl and tatted, but no quilt. I never pieced a quilt in my life. I started one, and I told her, and I said, "Don't never start another." And I started it, and Miss Ivey wouldn't let me finish it. I mean, she set it together, helped me set it together, and I couldn't say I pieced it by myself, and I said, "I'm never going to start another." Now, I didn't love to piece quilts.
Mm-hmm.
I never did. That was out of my line, but I could sit and crochet from sun up to sundown.
You know, we only have about another minute and a half.
Oh, is that right?
Do you have some kind of a favorite story you'd like to tell before we go off?
Well, really, I just can't think of one. Really.
Sometimes people have a little amusing
Yeah,
incident
yeah.
or something or other that they'd like to get on, or something that we didn't ask you that you wished I
should have asked me.
had.
Yeah, probably. Well, you asked. I said it was my husband, a farmer, by which he was, but then his the last years, 20 years, he was a magistrate. Otherwise, he farmed all his life.
He served on the
Yeah.
fiscal court.
Yeah,
Well,
he was, 20 years.
his neighbors must have thought very well of
Well,
him.
yeah, well, he was a good man.
They wouldn't have elected him, I'm sure.
They never made him any better. I've just had a happy life, and I make it happy now. You can make it happy, or you can make it sad. And of course, now it's going to be. This is kind of a sad month because Aiden passed away the 30th, and he's passed away the 28th of this month, and he's put away on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell him I'll make
What
it.
day is your birthday?
30th.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Thelma. Happy birthday to you. And it won't be long.
No, it won't be long. 30th.
Well, I certainly thank
Well,
you. You've been a most pleasant interview, and we
Well,
appreciate getting to come to your house.
Well, Well, never thought about ever having you to come, but
Oh, Miss Phillips did that.
Yes, you'll have to leave. You'll have to. And so the next place where you go to, I'm going to send you one because she went around the world. And that's Miss Bessie Roberts.
All right.
Now-
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Thank you very much. Our oral microphone and oral history has been visiting today, and we've been in the home of Mrs. Thelma Ivey, Mayfield Highway, near Benton. We return you now to our studio.